English. Track 1. Track 2. Formula E 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 English. Track 1. Track 2.
Title fight. He arrives 9 points in the lead of the championship standings. Sebastian Buemi and Oliver Rowland arriving. Jean-Eric Vergne ready to rock and roll ahead of the first of 6 races here today, or not today, but over the next 9 days. There is the look at the Berlin E-Prix circuit, the Tempelhofer field there in the background. We're on the apron of the old airport. There's the radar tower down at the back then, but we have got 3 different circuits in use over the next 6 races. And the first one, Dario Franchitti, is the reverse Berlin circuit.
Well, morning, Jack. Let's have a look at it. You're going to see here with the drivers on the throttle, coast and regen. Look at the colour codes on the side. Yeah, reverse direction. Completely different track. The drivers say, you know, everything comes to them much differently. Still 2.33 kilometres. This curving entry into turn 1, you see quite a long regenerating part of the lap there. Into the heavy braking zone of turn 2, you're going to see a lot of action, a lot of overtaking. Kinks in turn 3, turn 4, short straight up to turn 5 with that attack mode activation zone is still on the outside of the corner. Expect a lot of action there in the race. Heavy braking zone for turn 6, not really an overtaking opportunity though, I would say. It's going to get very busy here in this first lap, I would say. Turns 8, 9, turn 10, a long right-hander, putting lots of pressure on the right-hand side tyres, particularly the rear. It's going to be a pretty cool track.
Yeah, fascinated to see what it looks like when we get out there with cars on track. We had them on track for shakedown yesterday afternoon, so we've got a little bit of a view at it, but they'll be going full speed ahead today, and you can see most of the cars all ready to go. It looks like there's a bit of work going on James Colado's car. On the very right-hand side, the Jaguar does not look like it's all set. Nick de Vries and Robin Freitz both had battery changes this morning, and it looks very busy at James Colado's car. There is Stoffel van Dorn in the new black Mercedes as they continue their form of supporting the end to racism, same as they've done in Formula 1. They've re-liveried their cars for black, and Stoffel van Dorn's got a new helmet actually as well for the occasion, which is quite cool.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I suppose the Stoffel this morning is ready to get going here. I think everybody's been sort of at home thinking about this moment of actually getting back to competitive racing in real cars. Yeah, the race at home challenge, but this is the real thing. And it almost seems like a different season, doesn't it, when we were in Marrakesh? And what, 5 months ago, but yeah. We're about to go here. And it's about to get real again. This intense period of 9 days with these 6 races. We see René Rast, this is his first time in a competitive Formula E situation, taking over from Daniel Abt at Audi.
Yep, so many stories to talk about over the next 45 minutes in this first free practice session. 6 races in 9 days, 3 tracks, and there will only be 1 champion. At the moment, Antonio Felix da Costa is leading the championship, 11 points clear of Mitch Evans. I think I said 9 earlier on, my apologies. It was 11 points clear of Mitch Evans, who is 10 clear of Alexander Sims in 3rd, who's 2 points clear of Max Günther in 4th. But da Costa's got 67 points at the top of the championship. There's 180 on offer in the next 9 days. So it doesn't matter, but there's almost no one that is out of title contention.
No, exactly right. A guy like Alex Lynn and René Rast have just showed up. They haven't done a race in this season of Formula E. They're still in contention. It's going to be difficult to put it together. And I think consistency, to be consistently good, shall we say, in these next 6 races is going to be the challenge. As we see Andre Lotterer getting his first laps at full race power. Yesterday they ran around at sort of half power, and it gave them some idea. But this is the first time they can really taste exactly what the car is going to feel like. Those changes that have been made. The cars all look the same above the surface, but under the surface, those changes that have been made. Are they going to work? Are they going to help them? Are there energy targets that they're hoping to get? They're going to be able to meet those, and it's the pace just in the car.
So that was turn 1. Then this is the hairpin left-hander of turn 2. Then accelerating up towards the left-hand kink, which is turn 3. Then we swing right at turn 4 and down towards the big looping turn 5.
Watch how far off the track the attack mode activation zone is in turn 5. It's mighty. So you see some real crossovers. Even in the other direction, we see massive crossover there. I think that's really going to add to the drama of the races today and tomorrow in this layer.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Full course yellow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow, full course yellow.
This is a test. We do this every free practice one just to test, make sure all the systems are working and everybody gets understand it, and the car is actually doing what you tell it to do when you press the full course yellow button to take you down to pace car speed at 50 kilometers an hour.
So Scott Elkins, the race director. I've missed his voice.
Yeah. Very reassuring.
42 minutes left on the clock. We'll get some lap times in fairly soon. There you see the full course yellow boards around the circuit as well. And I'm interested actually to see that's a thought. Are the lap times going to be different, reverse to regular?
Yes, but not massive. But yeah, absolutely yes.
Because it's the way the
corner flows into another that makes it sort of more difficult, changes the lap time.
1. Green flag, green flag.
Off we go.
Back underway. Hashtag Berlin E-Prix for the conversation today. And Connor Walsh says this backwards race circuit would be the Nilreb E-Prix. And I believe that was considered, calling this the Nilreb E-Prix, which is Berlin backwards, but I think deemed a little bit too much of a niche thing. So we're sticking with reverse Berlin, traditional Berlin, and new Berlin, which is the way we'll be referring to the 3 racetracks.
Most of the time, unless we forget.
Yeah, exactly. There's Felipe Massa, the Brazilian, driving for the Venturi team. As he comes into the right-hander, that's at turn. It's tricky, isn't it? Because
yes.
Because it's turn 5 here, but it's turn 6. Everything else I'm okay with. When it's turn 10, but now it's turn 1, all right. When one day it's 5 and the other day it's 6, and then the third track it's going to be turn 7. That's going to be the mind bender.
Talking about the track, the surface is I think the smoothest surface in terms of bumps that the Formula E teams race on all season, but it's got the most abrasive surface.
Pushing.
Words of wisdom from the engineer there. Keep pushing, yes. It's the most abrasive in terms of tyre wear, tyre temperature. Some teams are saying, oh, we're just worried about tyre temperature. Other teams are saying, actually, we're worried about tyre wear and temperature, especially on the left side, because of all these long right-hand corners that the drivers are encountering.
There is Mitch Evans in the Jaguar. His teammate James Collado has not made it out of the pits yet. As we mentioned earlier on, there's a lot of work going on his car. It was about, what, I'd say 20 minutes ago that I was down there and they were just starting to jack the car up.
That was the worry, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because it was nothing. Then all of a sudden, you could see there was a big flap going on in it. Yeah, the other guys, the Mercedes guys, and I think it was the Envision guys, they had the battery changes done. They could start first thing this morning. So we're on board with Mitch Evans coming down to turn 6. Yeah, they got that right. Well done. Bit of traffic ahead of him. Mitch was really one of the stars of the early part of season 6, wasn't he? His performance, particularly in Mexico City, was just dominant. So the Jaguar guys got to be feeling good about their chances. But in the off time, there's so much development being done on software. Is it going to shake up the grid? Is it going to be completely different? I mean, the grid's shaken up enough already. You don't really know who's going to win a race, but what's it going to look like?
Targets and stuff are not making sense.
The targets are not making sense, says Mitch Evans.
Okay, so the car's telling him what his energy targets are, how to how to save energy, when to do it. It's instructing him the most efficient way to do it, and he's just saying it's not doing what it should. This is making absolutely zero sense at all. As he said, see Alexander Sims going into the hairpin in turn 2, that race earlier in the season.
21 points off the lead of the championship, lies third. Took a win in the second race in Diriyah, as you mentioned, but did a good job in Mexico City, climbing up to 5th position, but DNFs in Santiago and Marrakesh, 2 retirements in the last 3 races for Sims, which is not helped his title bid, even though he's still very much within reach and ahead of his teammate Max Günther in the championship standings at the moment. 38 minutes left on the clock. Sims 5th at the moment. Alex Lynn for Mahindra is quickest. His 3rd team in Formula E now, Alex Lynn, as he comes in to replace Pascal Wehrlein at the Mahindra team, who left very suddenly a couple of months ago. So Lynn in for those 6 races. Sims across the line and goes to the top of the times. A 1 minute 9.897. Fractionally quicker than Alex Lynn.
Just for info, if anything, it's the rear that's on the limit end of braking. Over onto Lima 11.
So Sims saying it's the rear that's on the limit into the braking zones. And there is Alex Lynn in the Mahindra.
And he's come into the team, and I think he's shaken up a bit. He's told them, you know, I think we should be doing this, let's try that, you know, this might be the direction to go in, and it's been new information, and I think the Mahindra guys have really taken that on board, and have made some big changes. He spent, I think, seven days on the simulator.
Wow.
Since signing that contract, so yeah, pretty busy. The team's only got the reverse layout information and the new layout information on July 22nd to plug into their simulators, so it's been a bit of a sort of a scrap to get as much of the work done as they normally would. Get both drivers through as well, through those days of learning how to go quickly around the track and also how to save energy.
What's really interesting about Lynn and, you know, the direction of the team, because they have sort of felt a bit directionless this year, Mahindra, maybe that's a little bit of a harsh judgment, but they've had their worst start to a Formula E season ever this year, so that's really interesting. As Bird comes into turn 1 then, a new helmet for this race, which
is some touching on the floor, under braking into turn 1.
Felt some touching on the floor under braking into turn 1.
And you don't want that, because it means if it's touching on the floor, the wheels are off the ground, and that doesn't help your braking capabilities. We're on board with Sam Bird as he goes through 3 and 4, coming down now to the wide sweep of turn 5. He's looking for a very wide turn in, late apex. Again, back to the throttle, nice and early. This long curving straight up to turn 6. Let's see how heavy he brakes. Here again, you hear the car touching. And as in qualifying, he's going to be braking a lot harder than that, so the car's going to touch more, so you think they're going to have to raise the front of the car, which you don't really want to do.
End of straight also.
See? There we go. This is him coming through that long last corner, feeding the power in and trying to control and manage the torque of the electric motor, trying to break those rear tyres loose. And Sam Bird, the top of the charts.
Yeah, 1 minute 9.589, a tenth or so quicker than Oliver Rowland in 2nd place, Eduardo Mortara in 3rd, Robin Francis 4th, Sims, Lynn, Buemi, Günther, Massa and D'Ambrosio. The rest of the top 10, 35 minutes left on the clock, and there, across the line, is René Rast in the Audi, making his way down towards turn 1, currently 22nd quickest, 2.3 seconds off the pace of Bird. He's had a bit of testing, but not really a huge amount.
No, current DTM champion, he won the last DTM race in Spa. This is going to be completely new to René Rast, though. It's one of those drivers, Jack. He's driven with a roof over his head a lot of his career, but he's found a way to win in pretty much everything he's done. Spoke to Alan McNishabems, is incredibly analytical. He really feels he's going to help the team and push Lucas Di Grassi on a bit too. So I think give him a couple of days. This is a great situation for him. He's got 6 days to build up, to build into it, because I think this is a signing, not for these 6 races. It feels to me this is a signing for the future, for season 7 and beyond.
Rast did one Formula E race in Alexanderplatz in 2016, replacing Antonio Felix da Costa at the Aguri team when da Costa was doing DTM duties, but that is his only single-seater race since the 2004 Formula BMW ADAC Championship. So a long time out of single-seaters. Sebastian Vettel won the title that year.
There you go. So just for reference, on the old, on the traditional layout, a 1:08.1 was the quickest time in free practice 1. So reverse direction, we're seeing a 1:09.4 so far. Expect that to go quicker as the drivers start pushing harder. The track rubbers in a bit. The rubber goes onto the track. That makes it grippier. And then who's going to do a qualifying simulation?
Max Günther, 4th in the championship at the moment, 2 points behind his teammate Alexander Sims. And there's Sergio Sete Câmara, the young Brazilian driver, Red Bull reserve. Was at Silverstone at the weekend as the Red Bull reserve, then flew out here on Sunday night on a lovely Ryanair flight out of Stansted. And then here he is in his first Formula E event after Brendan Hartley parted ways with the Dragon team. So interested to see what Sergio Sete Câmara can do here, actually.
Yeah, he did the rookie test. And, he's done well. So he's got a good CV. Let's see if he can figure out. The Dragon guys have had a fairly tough season so far. And it's interesting when you see somebody like a Brendan Hartley getting into the car. You know, obviously he's World Endurance Champion. He's won. He's done so well in all these races. It never came together for him. And to be honest, he never really got a chance either. It was such a sort of short program. That was sad to see, because I rate Brendan highly. But I think Sete Câmara will do a good job, and he loses the rear. Look how much oversteer from the moment of turning, just fighting the rear. Well, that's going to be a new feeling for him with these Michelin tyres we use in Formula E, with tread on them. They react completely differently to a slick tyre that he's used to. And he's driven a lot of slick tyres. You know, he's F2 season last year, tested IndyCar. He's driven a lot of different stuff, but this will feel much different to anything I think he's experienced.
James Collado still in the pits, so only 23 cars out there on circuit, still trying to get from the team what's going on with James Collado.
Driver's eye.
We go, driver's eye with Stoffel van Dorn coming through the right-hander of turn 5.
Looking down, changing the different controls. The workload the drivers go through is really incredible in a Formula E car. He coasts up to turn 6, trying to get as close to the wall on the left as he can to open out the right, but you don't want to get too close to the wall on the left, because he'll take the left front wheel off or push you offline, which is almost equally as bad. Coming through the last long turn 10, trying to put the power down. Back to throttle. He's lost a bit of ground on the exit, and that's one of the points of the track that the guys have been thinking, right, we need to fix that. We need to be able to get to the throttle harder to make a pass into turn 1, because that pass is going to start with the first application of throttle in turn 10. Is when the pass into turn 1 will actually start happening.
Oof, so it's a small software issue that Jaguar are reviewing with James Collado's car. So they're going to undertake a precautionary powertrain change. Wow. And that is not the work of a moment. That is, I think, Collado out for the session.
Yeah, that's the whole back end of the car, really. And James Collado has not had an easy time of it. He's getting replaced next year at Jaguar by Sam Bird. Yeah, it's just, again, one of those campaigns. He's been disqualified. He raced quite well in a couple of races, but qualifying, his pace he's been off Mitch Evans a bit, which is easy to do because Mitch has been really at the top of his form, I would say.
Yeah, Collado in that last race in Marrakesh had his first top 10 qualifying, but ended up finishing in 16th. Climbed 10 places in both Santiago and Mexico, but as you say, by virtue of qualifying near the back. So this lack of track time for Collado, missing a free practice 1 here is a big deal. If you've then just got half an hour to get dialed in, then you are very much on the back foot already. And then for tomorrow as well, for 2 rounds of the championship, effectively, you're immediately on the back foot.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've only got 1 practice session tomorrow. I think the days, Jack, of qualifying at the back and working your way through, it's probably gone. Qualifying has become more and more important in Formula E as the field has tightened up.
We need 110 sector 2, 210 sector 3.
Felipe Massa being told there by his engineer, Jeremy Colinson, exactly what he needs to do, where he needs to find the time. Roland is quickest at the moment, and there's Daniel Abt in the Neo, a new helmet for this weekend. It says, guess who's back on the side of it. The joke being that he was never away after parting ways with Audi after the Race at Home Challenge incident. He's now with the Neo team and says that it's actually not as different as he thought driving the Neo car. When you look to where they are in the championship, he expected it to feel
I think worse is the word.
Yeah,
Come on, Jack,
exactly.
say what it is.
There is James Colado's car, so a whole powertrain change for Colado because of a small software issue, and you can Colado's not getting out.
I mean, they still haven't attached the back end of the car to the battery, and then they've got to attach that whole bit to the chassis itself, to the tub. There's no way. And these guys are the best in the business. They're as good as anybody, but it's just not. Yeah, if they get that ready, that should be. Colado should be buying them round of beers. Not necessarily tonight, because we're going to go racing again tomorrow.
Correct. There's Oliver Rowland, quickest at the moment on a 1 minute 9.497, but a 20-place grid drop for Oliver Rowland for a power unit change, because they basically put too much power into it
through the system.
The system.
And is that the first mistake we've seen of many mistakes that are going to be made by teams that are just under so much pressure over these next 9 days with those 6 races, and the championship on the line? It's difficult enough with any race, whether we're going to Marrakesh and do that one race, to do these, what we're trying to do here, what the teams are trying to do here. We're just going to talk about it. What the drivers and the teams are trying to do is, I think, incredibly difficult.
René Rast ahead of Lucas de Grassi at the moment. Both have done a 1 minute 10.2, but that's an encouraging start for René Rast, 2-time DTM champion, reigning DTM champion, reigning DTM winner after a dominant display in the second race in Spa last weekend. There is Max Günther, 10th place for him.
And Max, I was talking to some of the guys at the BMW Andretti team, and they said, look, he's young yet, but he knows exactly what he wants from the car. He's very fussy about the details, which is what you need to be as we go on board with him through turns 3 and turn 4. Get the driver's eye view. The camera is right inside the visor, right inside the helmet, so you see exactly what Max sees. He actually sits quite high in the car. Quite surprised how much of a view he's got. Obviously with the halo, that's you can sort of do that a bit, and you can see the halo ahead of him. He will be seeing straight through that because he's looking way up the road as he brakes for turn 7. Yeah, he's looking already at the apex of the next corner, which is now hidden
Next
by the
lap
mirror.
will be a cool down, but you can keep pushing until turn 1.
Günther being told the next lap will be a cool down, but he can keep pushing until turn 1. Here he comes out of the final corner, and he remains in 10th place. No improvement on that lap, pretty much matches his best time actually, about 0.06 of a second slower than he managed previously. 26 minutes left on the clock. There's René Rast back in the pits, the 33-year-old who is from Minden near Hanover. And there's Nick de Vries. Battery change for him just before the session got underway. And championship-wise for Nick de Vries, it started very, very well for him in Diriyah, especially in qualifying, but only 2 points finishes, a 6th in Diriyah and a...
Understeer, like, the front doesn't really bite. High speed as well. Low speed as well a bit, but more high speed.
And a 5th place in Santiago. But yeah, the front not really biting for de Vries.
Yeah, I mean, it can mean several things, but it's just that the front tyre, as he turns, the car is just not following his hands, basically. And that could be that the rear is actually overpowering the car, the front of the car. You need the rear to slide a little bit to help. So you might have to take some grip away from the rear of the car to help the front. It's all about balance as we Turvey go for the line. This looks like he cut the track distance short, and he's now 20th quickest. I'm really interested to see the dynamic and the pace difference between Daniel Abt and Oliver Turvey. When was the last time he had a really fast teammate?
I would imagine Nelson Piquet in the Neo, which would have been season 2. 2 or 3, right? Yeah.
It's been a while, so yeah, I mean, Turvey is very highly rated. Let's see exactly how. As Da Costa goes to the top of the times, 109.1.
Championship leader hits the top. And there is Mitch Evans just getting lowered down, 4th at the moment for him. Da Costa and Sims are a good chunk clear of the rest of the field, aren't they? Everyone else is pretty tight behind from Rowland backwards as the as the two Nissans there are in the garage, but everyone else behind is very close and up to speed. Actually, I'm pretty impressed with Rast and Sete Camera. Okay, very early days, but they're not in any way adrift. In fact, Rast is ahead of Degrassi. Sete Camera is behind Muller, but only by just over 1/10 of a second. So they're both pretty much on it straight away. But a lot of Formula E also is the racing.
Yeah, they're going quick, and one lap's challenging enough to do it well. Saving and actually producing energy with regenning and stuff. That's the real trick of Formula E, and that's where the guys at Lucas Degrassi that sometimes don't have the 1 lap pace, but certainly in the races seem to find something. We're hearing that Mitch Evans is not happy with his traction, not happy with the power down when he gets to the throttle, spinning the tyres up and sort of snapping sideways, so he's keen for that to be changed.
He's getting more traction than James Collado at the moment, though, isn't he?
I think I am sitting here.
Roger Griffiths, the team principal of the BMW I Andretti Motorsport entry. Work going on there at the front of Stoffel Vandoorne.
What are they doing? Let's have a look. It looks like they're changing looks like some electrical connectors there more than something mechanical. As we see DaCosta into turn 2. Lovely late arc into the corner there, DaCosta. He was driving so well before the 5-month break. He just, yeah, absolutely at the top of his game, making things very difficult for his teammate, because you've got Jean-Eric Vergne, double champion. DaCosta comes in the team, and it makes it look not easy, but doing an absolutely fantastic job. There's some bumps that we found on the exit of turn 5.
Yeah, DaCosta only left Dirrier with 2 points, but since then he's had 3 podiums in a row, 2 seconds and a win, and Vergne actually hasn't finished ahead of DaCosta in any race. Well, only in Dirrier. Only the second race in Dirrier is the race where Vergne's finished ahead. 2 DNFs in that time as well. As we go on board with, or stay on board with DaCosta coming into turn 1.
Fabulous watching his head move down, look, adjust something on the steering wheel, look back up, regen paddle, all these different things that him and the rest of the field are having to contend with. See Jean-Eric Vergne in the other DS Techeetah. He's got a tribute helmet to his, I guess it's his karting hero. And it's a really cool story when Jean-Eric tells it. He's a passionate guy, isn't he? He kind of sometimes does this whole, I don't care. But when he talks about stuff like that, you can tell the passion he's got for racing.
He was in a really good mood yesterday, I have to say, when he was speaking to him a little bit in the paddock, and yeah, really sort of positive. Didn't really discuss anything about Formula E, but he was just in one of his bubbly moods, not in one of his grumpier moods.
Yeah. I think he's enjoying life. I think he's double DTM champion. He's got other things going on. He seems very happy with life. You see him move up to 6th place. He'd be a bit happy with that too.
Absolutely. And you can see the tribute helmet there to Fabien Pochet, who is the karting racer that Jean-Eric Vergne was looking up to, 8 years younger.
And sector 2 and 3 are 1/10 off.
And then Pochet was very tragically killed, age 19. And so, as a result, Jean-Eric Vergne is paying tribute to him this weekend. He was a contemporary of Fernando Alonso in karting in the mid to late 90s. Here's Neil Gianni going through attack mode, which is that further off the track than last year?
Do you know what it does? It looks like they've moved the wall back to make it actually further off. I'll have to check that. But you saw how much Neil Gianni had to slow down and how much further a distance he actually had to go to arm attack mode. Yeah, the extra power that it gives you is nice to have. But wow, is there a penalty for taking it, which you will have to do a number of times in the race? We'll be told just before the race exactly how many times and for how long attack mode will be activated in the race.
Neil Gianni, 6th quickest at the moment, 1,000th quicker than his teammate Andre Lotterer, which is more encouraging for Gianni, who at the moment is one of the pointless drivers in the field.
That's a bit rude, Jack.
Along with Nico Muller and Oliver Turvey. Those are the only 3 drivers who are here this weekend that haven't scored a point yet this season. As René Rast comes out of the final corner now, he's dropped down to 20th, still ahead of Lucas de Grassi, comes across the line and goes up to 11th place, just ahead of Sebastian Buemi. De Grassi follows him across the line and is a couple of tenths slower than Rast. So this is, I'd class this as pretty impressive actually, very early on, I know, only, what, 20 minutes into the day, but Rast doing a good job.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to see him do not a good job, are we?
Just
a very good job.
I think a little cool slide, maybe.
A little super slow-mo, close enough to the... Oh, perfectly judged. That was quite good, wasn't it?
A little slither of banner, that'll do.
Yeah, but there was no stopping. The slide didn't arrest. When you see it sort of stop suddenly, you know you've hit it a little too hard. That was perfect from René Rast. Now you're looking at the timesheet. You look at it on the left, you see the order. A lot of the teams are on different programs right now. Some are going for more outright speed, some are still trying to figure out the energy saving. So we won't really know the true picture on who's what. I think maybe even till the end of free practice 2. And then you've got the thing where people saying, traffic, and that sort of stuff. So it's very difficult to get a clear picture before qualifying, I would say.
Rast goes 3rd quickest now.
Wow.
1 minute 9.236, just a tenth slower than Antonio Felix da Costa. Nick de Vries is on a good lap, and he now goes to the top of the times, a 1 minute 8.945. Roland's done a good first sector as well. All of these coming in, I think, regular mode. De Vries might have been in attack mode. There is Sam Bird. It's a Kylo Ren inspired helmet from the Star Wars. You know the one.
Kylo Ren.
That one.
That one.
Designed by Sam Bird's stepson.
Very cool.
Yeah. Lucas de Grassi, 15th.
Yeah, he's on it now.
Yeah.
This one's going to be a little better for Lucas. He looks like he's pushing pretty hard.
Roland goes up into 3rd place. De Grassi just 600ths down in Sector 1 on Nick de Vries.
That barrier at turn 5 is the way that the arc of the corner they're taking, it is going to claim a few people before the end of tomorrow when we run both races on this layer. That looks really close. Again, De Grassi out of turn 6 using all the roads. Sorry, turn 7.
Couple of tenths down after the middle sector here, De Grassi, so this could stick him up into the top 10. Here he comes across the line now, and Lucas goes 9th, so just gets in ahead of Neil Gianni, 2 tenths or so of his teammate René Rast. 16 minutes left on the clock, and De Grassi into 9th position. Nick de Vries still quickest, and Daniel Apps just done the fastest first sector of anyone in the Neo, but he is on attack mode.
I had a little bit of traffic with Massa. Lost maybe 1 or 2 tenths, but the car...
Here's a look at De Grassi riding on board with him.
Ooh, there's a bump just before the wall. There's it takes you out that last little bit that you don't want to go. Alan McNish looking very technical with his his glasses on there.
Looks like he's about to do a woodwork class, doesn't he?
Look at just when the guys are going at turn 1. It's such a difficult corner, Jack, because you commit to it, you brake and you commit when you can't actually see the apex. The apex is completely blind, so you have to start the first part of the corner.
We should open. The car is very stable on the rear.
We should open. I think he's talking about open the differential, possibly. That would allow the car to rotate more mid-corner, but can hurt rear stability. If you do it, Nick de Vries, faster again, 108.9.
Stoffel van Doorn's on a full power lap by the looks of things. He is just coming through Sector 1. He hasn't had a good Sector 1. He's done the fastest middle sector of anyone. Well, I thought for a moment he was on a full power lap. I saw him flash, but he might have just been testing fan boost in the middle sector, potentially. So that was probably what happened with Stoffel van Doorn. Mitch Evans is on a good lap, as is Jerome D'Ambrosio, actually. Jerome D'Ambrosio is on a huge lap, down in 23rd place at the moment. But he'll jump to the top of the times in a second with quite a big advantage, and I don't think he's on full power yet.
He's on attack mode.
He's on attack mode, is he?
Yes, I think so. But yeah, he's 6 tenths up at the moment.
So we'll keep an eye on the tower on the left-hand side. Apt up to 8th quickest, which is a good effort. D'Ambrosio goes top on a 1 minute 8.219, 7 tenths quicker than Nick de Vries there.
The problem a lot of the guys have now is they might be on a push lap on attack mode or even full qualifying power, and there's other people on cool laps, all sorts of stuff, so it becomes very much like rush hour on the M25.
I think that is true, because you don't have... Everyone has their own run plan that they're going to do in free practice, but it's not like everybody does the same run plan at the same time, which you see in Formula One, for example, because there's a certain amount of tyres and a certain amount of this, certain amount of that. So everybody has to basically do the same thing at the same time, whereas here it's all different. Robin Freins has just gone 2nd quickest. We're looking at Sam Bird, who is in attack mode, and he is up on Jerome D'Ambrosio after the middle sector by about 0.5 of a second. Coming through the final sequence of corners now. It turns 8, 9, and then into 10. That turn 10 feels like it must be a frustrating corner. You just have to wait forever to get on the power.
Yeah, and that time you do get on the power just a fraction early though, Jack, it's going to break the rear tyres loose and you're going to lose traction. You have to get out of the throttle, and all your hard work's undone, so you can't let the frustration get the better of you.
Sam Bird to the top of the times with 12.5 minutes to go. 10th up on Jerome D'Ambrosio, who comes into the pits now in the Mahindra. Eduardo Mortara 3rd, Robin Freins 4th, Alex Lind in 5th position in the other Mahindra. There is Nick de Vries, who was at the top of the times for quite a while, and he's now dropped down to 6th position. He's improving on this lap, is Nick de Vries. Don't think he's on attack mode either, so this looks like it's a 200 kilowatt lap, as opposed to 225 kilowatts for attack mode and 250 for full power qualifying mode. And Nick de Vries goes 4th. Turvey's gone 7th, you know. Yeah. So Apt admittedly has now dropped down to 14th position, but Neo look a little more in the hunt. I know we're very early in free practice 1, but it feels like a bit of progress has been made there.
If that's Nick de Vries's pace on 200 kilowatts, that's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Jean-Eric Vergne, quickest of anybody through the first sector.
Here is the Frenchman. He's in attack mode, running at 225 kilowatts of power, down into 6 and 7.
Keeping it neat and tidy through 7 and 8 is because you've got to get in position for 10. 10 is the most important corner, I would say. Well, certainly 10 and 1 on this layer of the track. As Vergne comes to the line, what do we have?
Goes him into 2nd place ahead of Nico Muller, who had just slotted into that position for a moment. Jerome D'Ambrosio 4th still, Mortara 5th. Sete Camara, when he's still in the pits at the moment, is Sergio Sete Camara. His teammate Nico Muller's gone 3rd. Who else out there is doing good laps? Sims is on a quick lap at the moment. Turvey pits from 9th position. And this is Stoffel van Dorn, who's running in 10th place at the moment. René Rast just trying to get out of the way of Alexander Sims, and Stoffel van Dorn fails to do so. So that'll be a bit frustrating for Sims, I would have thought, as they come through the final corner. Oliver Rowland is on attack mode lap and has gone 3 tenths up on Sam Bird, so keep an eye for that one. Sims goes 5th.
He's on TV, but he's got some traffic, Jack.
Yeah, he's got Jean-Eric Vergne up in front of him. Rowland 3 tenths up, as I say, after the middle sector. Vergne had done a good lap on that last tour, and James Collado, so he got out of the pits. Very, very impressive work from the Jaguar team to change that whole rear end and get Collado out of the pits and onto the track. But on his outlap, he's ground to a halt. That's frustrating.
Yeah, and as we said before, it's you need to be out there running today with these compressed Formula E schedules. It's a great work to get for the guys to get the car up and running, but obviously something not quite right there.
Yeah, there is the Jaguar team, and there's a red flag with 9 minutes left on the clock, so we may not get much more running in, you know.
Okay, James, we'll wait till the marshals gets you, and then we'll get you out.
It's going to be touch and go here with with whether we get any more running in that session, I think, because the marshals, fewer marshals at motorsport events these days due to COVID secure protocols. So as a result, it takes just a little longer.
There was a big oscillation.
There's a big oscillation.
That's not a good thing.
8.5 minutes left on the clock. As the cars come back towards the pit lane.
Go back to Collado for a second.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we're going to see him in all 6 races here in Berlin. I think the last 2, there's a good chance he will. He's got other commitments in the World Endurance Championship, and I think we might see him head off there and be replaced for those last 2 races.
Jaguar did announce a new reserve driver last week in Tom Blomqvist, the former Andretti driver.
He drove for BMW, yeah.
Yeah. And he was, I think he was my co-commentator here last year.
Lucky man.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure he was, because you never tend to bother with Berlin, do you? This is quite rare for you to be in Berlin.
Yeah, I've normally it works. It clashes with Indianapolis 500. I work with Chip Ganassi Racing, which it is actually. I'm not going to be here for the last 2 either. I'm going to be commentating from Indianapolis.
Yeah, we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah.
7.5 minutes. You won't be able to give me evils when I say something absurd.
I'm going to ask Vernon to come in and give you a crack on the back of the head when you do.
He'll have to use a pole or something, though, won't he?
Yes.
So there is Collado waiting to get permission to get out of the car. There's the Drivers' Championship at the bottom. 11 points, the difference between Da Costa and Evans. Then Sims a further 10 points back from that. De Grassi, Van Dorn, all in the mix there as well.
New tyres going on to Stoffel Van Dorn's car. Some teams tend to scrub the tyres. They put a heat cycle through them. Other teams just go out and do that. If you put a heat cycle through them, it tends to cure the tyre, makes it a little bit more resilient to wear. Might lose some ultimate grip though. So each team has got their own theory on it, and to be honest, each tyre manufacturer requires something different.
How much do you?
This is race control. Just so you guys are aware, this car has a red light, so this is going to take a little while to recover it.
Oh.
Ah, okay. So the red light means that basically it is not safe to touch the marshals, so they have to wait and deal with it properly and depower the car properly. So I think that is Scott Elkins basically saying the session will not restart, is my inference from what Scott is saying there, as we see Da Costa back in the garage. I was about to make a point earlier, and I've just before Scott spoke, and I've forgotten what it was. I can't even remember what.
You were going to ask me how much something.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think it was how much is that doggy in the window.
Oh yeah, no, I've remembered. How much do you rely on lip reading when you're talking to your engineers? If you're in the car, you got a helmet on, and if you're not on the intercom, is it going to be really difficult to with an engineer with a mask on to understand them, or not really?
It has to be in the intercom.
Yeah.
It just doesn't function otherwise. You can, I mean, even as you say with the mask, the biggest thing is it's difficult to tell facial expressions. You know, and I think with engineers sometimes you can read a bit of that as well as what he's saying. Daniel Abs, his new low drag haircut.
Yeah, 27 years of age, has been competing in all of the Formula E races, 2 wins here in. There's some nice subtle sponsorship, I presume. I've not seen many drivers point so clearly to a sponsor, but yeah, 2 wins. One of them coming here in Berlin, the greatest day of his motorsport life, he said. Sergio Sette Camera, 23rd quickest at the moment, 2.1 seconds off Roland, and but I don't think he got out to do a lap in the way that Nico Müller, who's 4th, did. From what I think, from what we saw out there, he already seemed to be back in the pits.
Blue and red squares near the driver name.
Blue and red squares need a driver name.
I think you might be talking about the timing screens that he's looking at in the car. What do those mean?
That is the type of lap you're doing.
So interesting. So the blue squares presumably are, well, whatever way around it is. Blue might be 200.
That would be nice to
Red
have,
could be 225 kilowatts.
235.
2:35, sorry.
I know that because I just read it.
Yeah. Oliver Turvey. They're still waiting in the car. 4 minutes left on the clock. So they are clearly confident, but here comes the
cavalry.
Absolutely, the full gang to make sure James Collado is extricated from this car safely from the Jaguar.
I've done this. I've got out. Oh, it's going to be red flagged. It's not going to restart. Got out of the car. Next thing you hear everybody heading out, it's like, oops.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. So yeah.
And did you have to run back in and?
It was too late. I got a bit of a talking to that day.
I bet. That feels like fully Kimi Raikkonen in a chock ice at the Malaysian Grand Prix of 2009.
It wasn't a high point.
3 minutes left on the clock. Neil Jani there. 7 races in Formula E for the 36-year-old. The talk is Pascal Wehrlein will be, and yet the session will not restart, that Pascal Wehrlein will be leaving the Mahindra team, which he already has done, to head to Porsche. And there's Jean-Eric Verne. Not been informed quite yet that the session will not restart. And now he has been.
It looks like a kind of Sebastian Bourdais type helmet, doesn't it?
I like it.
Oh, the steering's... I can't get the wheel off. I think they didn't have problems before with it getting stuck with the steering when he had that steering rack issue in Diriyah.
So Verne climbs out of the car. And that's the end of the first free practice session then. So Oliver Rowland ends it quickest. That man there's teammate. And 2/10 quicker than Sam Bird, a British 1-2 up at the top. Jean-Eric Verne in 3rd, Muller 4th, Ambrosio 5th. And there's Da Costa getting out of the other DS Techeetah. I've kind of forgotten about these Formula E practice sessions where, as we look at the championship standings of Da Costa, Evans and Sims, but just that, you know, everybody does laps in free practice 1, but you can't tell anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean it. You know what I mean? It's so difficult
Only the
to
teams
read.
know.
Yeah, exactly. It's so difficult to read into it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, everybody's on their own plan.
There is Rowland, the quickest driver.
Talking to the man from Michelin about the tyre. It looks like he's talking about the slip angle of the front tyre, I would say.
Eduardo Mortara heading down to get weighed as he and there's Oliver Turvey in behind as well, all heading down to get weighed. Robin Freitz's car with Robin still at the wheel. Maybe he's dozed off.
Right, by the way, Robin, session's over.
Yeah, I'll just wait here till the next one.
That's quite comfortable. That's the point when you go down and get weighed for the first time and the team can tell. Have you been sticking to the plan? Because they really want you to keep a certain weight for the weight distribution of the car and stuff. And if you've gone over it, they tend to give you a bit of a hard time.
And it's such a it's been such a strange time as well. I feel like that the almost in a regular off-season, I would guess that it's easier for sort of 3 months or something, because Collado's out of the car now. It's easier to be kind of disciplined because you've got a target, you've got an aim. You know you've got 3 months, and then you want to be in the best shape you're ever possibly in. But just that sort of no man's land that we had over the last couple of months is must be really tricky to deal with. The motivation to when you don't even know if you're going to finish the season, whether there's going to be another race or what, must be a real challenge.
Yeah, I think it was just really that what you ended up doing. You had to just work every day, even when you were, you know, at home from the first day, just working like it was the race was going to be the next week. That's all you could do.
Oliver Turvey returns to the Neo 333 garage, takes off the balaclava, pops on his mask, and we'll head in for a debriefing session with the engineers. Out the back there, he and Daniel Abt. Abt's got changed quickly, hasn't he? He's got his jean shorts on. And there's Alexander Sims making his way down to get weighed. And Maxi Gunter on his way back. Rowland quickest, a 1 minute 7.832. 2/10 clear of the rest of the field. But as Sergio Sette Camara was discovering, difficult to know what laps were corresponding to what mode. I think Roland's lap was done on attack mode. I think most of the kind of front lap times were, but Lotterer and Degrassi and Gianni, for example, didn't actually run in attack mode at all. Here's a look at the results then after the first free practice session. It is Oliver Rowland at the top of the times, a 1:07.832. Bird second quickest. 4 British drivers in the top 12. 2 Dutch drivers in 8th and 9th position. 3 Swiss in the top 12 as well. And you can see Antonio Felix da Costa has got 20% of the fan boost votes already. So pretty good work there from da Costa on that front. Alex Lynn, 12th quickest at the end of his first session back. Jerome D'Ambrosio ended 5th in the other Mahindra. Daniel Abt, very popular with fan boost in general, and also now he's joined the Mahindra, the Neo 333.
And he's ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn, which is unheard of.
Wow, yeah, that's quite something, isn't it? Van Dorn, 14th quickest, and a difficult session for James Collado. No time set and brought out a red flag when he finally managed to leave the pits. So next up will be free practice 2, and that gets underway at 11:25. So basically an hour and a half's time will be free practice 2. We'll see some quicker lap times than I would have thought, because if the teams were gearing up to do a little bit of qualifying mode running at the end there, they weren't able to. So I imagine we'll see that straight away in free practice 2. Now, what's going on with Robin Freitz's car? A bit strange that he's still in it, and that I wonder if he's got a red light on there potentially. But it's a bit strange that he's in it, and the engineers and the mechanics are getting fully aproned up for sort of electrical protection. So we'll keep an eye on Robin Freitz. They had to change the ECU yesterday on Freitz's car before shakedown, and then they had to do a battery change this morning. And so I wonder what they're up to now.
It shook, the whole car shook.
The whole car shook. You heard James Collado there.
Really bad, and just went, and a strange noise, like it felt like something seized. Yeah. Oh, that was that rear end. There's already something wrong with it, you know what I mean?
And they put a whole different rear end on the car, and I wonder if part of that has failed the new drivetrain, either the motor or the transmission.
Yeah, tough one for James Collado, not putting him in the best stead for that, as he makes his way up to get weighed after doing about half a lap in that session. Roland 0.2 of a second ahead of Sam Bird in the end. René Rast, good job as far as the debutants go. Quicker than his teammate Lucas de Grassi. There is Oliver Rowland's car as they're doing some checks on the back of that Nissan as well. So plenty of action going on in the pit lane, and these cars won't have, really run for 5 months since Marrakesh, a huge amount.
Well, some of them I think we've gone out testing, but yeah, there's a lot to be done between now and the start of FP2.
And most of the testing will have been for season 7 as well. Antonio Felix da Costa is the driver leading the championship, 11 points clear of Mitch Evans. Alexander Sims in 3rd, 4th for Max Günther. But like we say, with 180 points on offer, it's going to change so much, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But actually, one thing we haven't touched on is that those top 6 drivers will be out in Group 1 in the championship, and most of them are fairly convinced that Group 1 won't be too much of an issue here.
Yeah, certainly as the week goes on, Group 1 is going to become, I think, less of an issue because of the rubber going down the night before. Qualifying's a bit later, so it might be a bit more temperature sensitive, but it's that position. If you're in Group 1, you've got to get on with it, and you've got to beat those other championship contenders.
Yeah, absolutely. This is how the team's standings look. DS Techeetah are 8 points clear of BMW I Andretti. Those two have broken away a little bit out at the front, with Panasonic Jaguar Racing in 3rd position, Nissan Edam's 4th, just ahead of Mercedes-Benz. Neo, the only team yet to get off the mark, although Dragon only have 2 points. So there is Sam Bird in that Kylo Ren inspired helmet. Not Robin Freitz. Freitz is still in the car, I think, over the other side. Just the team are trying to find out what's happening, because again, even the press team aren't at the race circuit. So I have to ask the press team, then they have to try and ask the team, and the team are all busy doing whatever they're doing, trying to fix it.
And reduce numbers in the garages too.
Yeah.
Reduce numbers of personnel.
So, of course, you can vote for your favourite driver in the Fan Boost vote over the course of the next 6 races. And at the moment, it is Daniel Abt who is at the top on 26%. Da Costa 2nd, Van Dorn 3rd. Just Sergio Sette Camara with a good chunk of votes there in 4th position, just ahead of Mitch Evans. So we've certainly got our 3 runaway leaders, haven't we? But Sergio Sette Camara and René Rast, actually, both very popular, the newcomers.
Quite something.
Yeah. Let's look at Andre Lotterer and Mitch Evans, who is just there at the moment in 5th place. You can vote online at fiaformulae.com/fanboost or on Twitter using #fanboost and #driver name. So Robin Freitz got ready before the session started. Jean-Eric Verne then in behind, and that was Robin Freitz before he put his helmet on. Alexander Sims just wiggling his glasses into his helmet. It just feels like that would be uncomfortable. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but Sims seems to get away with it okay. Out onto the track they went. Felipe Massa there on board with him for the driver's eye. Oliver Turvey and Daniel Abt and the Neo team kind of looked okay, to be honest. I'm a little bit encouraged by them. Maybe they can join the fight a little more. Although, to be fair with the Neo, the 1-lap pace hasn't been the worst part of it. Jean-Eric Verne out in his tribute helmet. We had some onboards from Stoffel Van Dorn. Sergio Sette Camara making his Formula E debut. That was the view from Alex Lynn as René Rast got right up close to the wall on the exit. Sam Bird was looking quick in the Envision Virgin racing car, but James Collado ground to a halt. That brought out the red flag, and the session, therefore, was over. And Oliver Rowland ended it quickest in the Nissan. So that's the end of free practice 1. Make sure you join us in an hour and a half for free practice 2, where I think we'll get a bit more of a look at the competitive order, because that red flag really brought an early end to the running. James Collado grinding to a halt. So we'll see you in an hour and a half for more Formula E action from Berlin.